Hey everybody, my name is Brian Fincher. I play trumpet in the Houston Jazz Orchestra. I also teach jazz and trumpet at Sam Houston State University. Today I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks on the first 2020 All-State Jazz Trumpet Etude. So one of the most important things I teach with these etudes every year is how to swing. When we swing, we articulate a little differently to make it sound like we know what we're doing and not to sound square. It's the difference between sounding like this and this. So what I do differently between those two? I'll tell you, for the first one I played our swing rhythm, but I articulated everything, so it sounded a little square. For the second one, I slurred into my downbeats, and I accented the upbeats. So this is what I call jazz articulation. Be sure to not overdo the accents, because when we get the hang of it, it's gonna sound the accents are gonna sound pretty natural because we're already tonguing the upbeats and slurring into the downbeats. So here it is again slow. So another thing to watch out for, and it's something I hear a ton when I first introduce this concept to students, is to not clip the ends of the slurs. So it's going to sound like this if we're clipping those slurs. So we want to keep it really smooth, with the articulation that is, really smooth without any interruptions. And this is how it should sound, smooth without any interruptions, slow. Applying this jazz articulation to all your swing music is a good way to start getting used to this way of articulating and ultimately swinging. So pay really close attention to all the articulations. There's multiple staccatos, legatos, accents. Typically when we see an accent, we want to articulate that note, even if it breaks our jazz articulation pattern. Check out also this bar, measure 15 with the staccato eighths. It's kind of a tricky one. So we're gonna articulate that F, that accented F, and then our jazz articulate our way down to the staccatos, staccato, tongue the beats 3 and 4, and then start our jazz articulation in that next bar. This is what it sounds like slow. Here's what it sounds like fast. I think my most asked question every year is how to do the shakes, because there's usually at least one in one of the etudes. So for this particular one in measure 23, I use a handshake. And the way to really control your shakes is to hit the note with your tongue arch a little higher than it usually would be, which kind of brings the pitch up a little bit, and it makes the space between the two notes you're shaking to a little closer together. And this is going to let us control it with our hand a little easier. We want the partial basically to break as easily as possible, because when we shake, a lot of times we want to start fast or start slow and get fast, like this. So the idea is this. So imagine your G's here and your B flat, which is the note we're shaking to in this particular instance, is here usually. We're going to shake it, we want to bring those two a little closer together. So when we use our hand to shake the horn, the partial breaks. And that's what gives us our shake. So the way to do this is just to practice slow. You kind of have to experiment just to figure out what you need to do in your mouth to get the shake to work. Another thing to think about when we're doing this is not to use a lot of pressure, because when we're shaking to the higher note, we're actually bringing the horn a little closer to the face. So if we're already using a lot of pressure, it's going to sound like this. We're kind of putting some crazy vibrato on it or something. So also be sure to practice this without the shake a lot at first, because the rhythm is the most important part of this music we play. So the shake is really just an ornament. So if you nail the shake but blow the time, you're not really doing yourself any favors. Okay, so another good way to keep the time when you add the shake in is to put either a tongue stop or a release on beat 4, or a little quick one to get into that next phrase. So the all-state cut. The biggest thing you do to help yourself with this all-state cut is play it down the octave a ton when you're first rehearsing this. You really need to hear these pitches, especially if you're not used to playing the upper octave very much. It's really important to hear this stuff before you play it. It's going to make popping it up the octave a lot easier on you. So a big key for the upper octave when you put it up the octave is air support. Make sure we're taking a really big breath and we have enough air to support that high end playing. Okay. So another thing to watch out for in this last section, this all-state cut, is the time. A lot of times when we climb up into the upper octave, at the end of these all-state etudes, we tend to rush. So keep it with the metronome or playback, whatever you've been rehearsing with, to keep the time really steady. All right, guys, so that's all I have for the first etude. Be sure to check out the other 2 etudes from the other HJO trumpet section members. They got a lot of good stuff to say. And good luck at Jazz Region this year.